what if I told you that wall dashing is actually easy? And to prove that controller players can do this too, I used a controller for the first time and was chaining wall dashes within 5 minutes. And it's not because I'm special, but it's because I've spent over 3 years refining the principles that I'm going to teach you. So let's get into how to wall dash. There are many ways to wall dash, but I'm going to teach you the 2 most effective types. While the second type is more effective for chaining dashes, the first method is far easier to learn and it's where most people start, and that's this type. So how do we perform it? Well, the first step is getting aligned properly with enough speed. You need to make sure that your car is as close to parallel to the ground as possible, and you need to have as much speed as possible. This is what I like to call getting set. These 2 concepts are crucial to making the wall dash as easy as possible. If you're tilted too far up or too far down, you straight up will not be able to execute the wall dash. And if you're moving too slowly, the execution becomes nearly impossible. Fortunately, as you get closer and closer to parallel, the rate of success increases almost exponentially. And once your car reaches what psionics considers slow speed, anything faster is essentially diminishing returns. So get close to parallel and slow speed, where slow speed is just the maximum speed that your car can reach by just driving without boosting, which is perfect because this mechanic is meant to be used when you're low boost. So we're all set, we've gotten ourselves aligned, and we have some momentum. The next step is to actually execute the wall dash. In its simplest form, a wall dash is just a diagonal flip into the wall where you jump twice in quick enough succession. If you're on the right wall, diagonally flip forward and to the right. If you're on the left wall, forward and to the left. A quick note, holding power slide will just ruin your car's position on the wall. The key to this method is all in the movement before and after the wall dash. You'll need to reset your car in order to perform the next one. After this technique, your car will be pointed upwards, meaning if you dash again, you'll continue moving up the wall. We don't want this, so perform the wall dash by diagonally flipping into the wall, then adjust your car back down. This will set you up for success with your next dash. As a slight tip, you might even want to consider being pointed slightly down to counteract the upward angle resulting from the dash. As for the dash itself, like I mentioned, you'll have to hit your jump button twice in quick succession, but the importance of this really cannot be understated. Whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for years, this will likely be your point of failure. Fortunately, I have good news. I have a recommendation for practicing this, but I can do you one better and actually teach you how to perform the more effective, consistent, and preferable wall dash. But be sure to stick around because both methods are important and I will teach you their respective use cases. So here's how to do this second type. As we discussed, we start by getting set. That's the most important part. Now, just like with the other wall dash, we need to diagonally flip into the wall, but this time we're going to use a similar technique to the speed flip where we hold our directional arrow. Be sure to check out my speed flip tutorial if you don't know how to do it, but the basic principle is this. If I want to diagonally flip forward and to the right, there are 2 ways to do this. You can either input forward and to the right on your analog stick or press W and D on keyboard, or you can hold forward on your joystick plus your directional arrow right, or W plus your arrow right button on keyboard. If you've never used directional arrow to flip before, that's what makes this a more advanced mechanic and why I recommend starting with the other method first, then learning how to speed flip, and then learning this method. But if you feel confident in your ability to flip using directional arrow, here's how we turn this into a wall dash. Step 1, hold forwards to get enough speed. Step 2, hold your directional arrow. Step 3, position yourself on the wall. And step 4, spam that bitch. And by spam, I mean fucking spam. Jitter click as fast as you can. The rhythm is the thing that you have to learn on your own, but you'll get a feel for it over time. If you want an example of the rhythm, this clip caught my spamming in the mic, so let's listen close for the rhythm. If you're a little too fast, you're probably fine. Maybe a little slow and you're probably fine too. But if you're too far off the rhythm, your car will start to wobble like this. And you might be thinking, oh, I should hold power slide. No. Again, no need to hold power slide. And again, I recommend against it because you'll actually just slide down the wall. And I even went into freeplay to test it, and this is what happened. Editing chimney here. A slight addendum. I actually found out something kind of funny. So your car will slide down the wall, but if you then use a sideways input, you can slide your car back up the wall. So if you slide down the wall, then slide up the wall, and then slide back down and then slide back up, technically it works, but I'm not gonna lie, this is super inefficient. Don't do this. If you're worried about the wobble, I actually have a patchwork fix. If your car starts to wobble, tapping your left or right input, same as the wall you're on, will usually stabilize your car just a little bit. The problem is, now you're heading up the wall, which is better than flipping off, but still not ideal. Since the wobble comes from imperfect timing, the only proper fix is a proper wall dash. But fixing the wobble is only one of the pieces that I wanted to include. So let's get into the bonus tips, tricks, and techniques. But wait, Chimney, you still haven't taught us how to practice the wall dash. That's true, I haven't. Let's get into it quickly because my recommendations are slightly unorthodox. Let's start with how to click quickly enough to execute the wall dash. And we'll start with controller because that's what most players use. If you're on controller, my recommendation is actually not to play Rocket League, which sounds crazy, I know, but stay with me. There are games with quick time events or QTEs where you have to spam a certain button a lot of times. What I recommend is playing games with these QTEs and using only your thumb. Believe it or not, that's what gave my thumb the ability ability to press fast enough when I tried controller for the first time. My two games of choice were playing The Walking Dead on stream and Spider-Man off stream. Now, I understand not everyone can do this due to funds or other circumstances, and that's fair. If you can't, unfortunately my only other recommendation is a slightly boring one. If you're on PC, you can do this with unlimited flips to make it slightly more engaging, but on console, I'm sorry. Just practice spamming with your thumb as much as possible and genuinely don't do anything else. We need to train those fast twitch muscles in our thumb in order to be able to press quickly enough for the wall dash. Part of this is genetic, so it will take some people longer than others, but just stick with it. For KBM players, this is quite a bit easier, but doesn't have the fun option, unfortunately. If you use a mouse, open up a clicks per second minigame specifically for right click if you're on default binds. I linked one in the description, but because I'm keyboard only, I don't know a good number to get. Maybe just as fast as possible. For reference, I held down my arrow bind and did a spacebar test, also linked in the description, and got 53 clicks in 5 seconds. Now, to be fair, I wasn't warmed up, so the rhythm might be a little bit faster, it also might be a little bit slower, but I'm guessing this is roughly what you should aim for with right click. If you have a bind other than spacebar, left click, or right click, you might need to find a website with a different key. If enough of you have this issue, I can build an aim for you guys, so just let me know. Now that we know how to press our jump button faster, this is how we practice the wall dash as a whole. The main thing is to just get reps in, but when you're just starting out, you'll want to have more speed. When you get better, you can try at lower speeds too, but holding boost can definitely help. The faster you get the rhythm and feel down, the faster you'll master the wall dash. The only other tip I can give is maybe just driving around the walls parallel to the ground so you get used to being parallel. Maybe you can even move up the wall, get parallel, go down, go back up, get parallel, etc. But yeah, genuinely the best way to practice is to practice. Just keep repping it out and remember that it will take the time it will take. But once you have it down, you'll be ready for my bonus tips, tricks, and techniques that I picked up from my almost 5 years of wall dashing. As I mentioned, being perfectly parallel is ideal. And it is if your car is slow speed, but it isn't if your car isn't slow speed. Something close to this angle is actually the most ideal, where you're pointing quite far downwards. This counteracts your car's intense desire to dismount from the wall and increases your chances of a successful wall dash. However, as you can see, we're pointed toward the floor. That isn't good. And the fix is to actually break one of the rules that we talked about earlier and use the less effective form of wall dashing. So the basic flow is this. We're incredibly slow moving, pointed downward. We use the first technique until we're close to parallel, and then we use the second technique. And that's the second tip. Third tip is actually quite similar, and it's for climbing up the wall with your wall dashes. So you basically have two options in front of you. Number one, you can use the first method until you reach your desired angle, which is roughly 40 to 60 degrees from parallel, and then use the second method, or you can use a third method. What we do for the third method is begin with the second technique, the one where we hold our arrow bind, and then we introduce the left or right input, again dependent on the wall you're on. Now you can either hold your left or right input until your desired angle and then continue with the second method, or you can tap it every once in a while like with the wobbling. I tend to do the second because it feels cooler, no other reason. This continues the use of the easier second method, but also slowly moves us up the wall so that we can get close to the ceiling. This isn't that useful at a surface level, but it can actually be used to demo chase someone. If they end up moving upwards, you can adjust accordingly. And I think I've gotten well over 20 demos on the wall by wall dashing into people, and more than a few required this technique. And now, time for one of the coolest implementations of the wall dash, the reverse wall dash. Although I've only ended up practically using this in-game maybe 1 or 2 times from memory, it's a really cool and unique mechanic. I highly recommend learning the normal wall dash first though, because that mechanic is needed multiple times per game. To put it into perspective, you might need to reverse wall dash 10 to 20 times over your Rocket League career, whereas the normal wall dash is useful upwards of 10 to 20 times per game. Nonetheless, the reverse wall dash looks really cool and can surprise your opponent, so definitely something worthwhile to at least know about and maybe to use as a celly after scoring a peaker. But there are 5 key things that you're going to want to keep in mind. Number 1, this type of wall dash is far more difficult to execute. Number 2, it's the same basic principle, just using reverse. Number 3, it's still the same directional input as the wall that you're on. Arrow left or turn left for left wall, opposite for the right wall. Number 4, we still need to have some momentum to increase our odds for success. And number 5, which is probably the most important thing, you actually don't want to be parallel. Well, allegedly. I found the most success when I'm pointed up or down. Now, I haven't rigorously tested it, but I found more luck tilting up or down. And if you still aren't sold on the value of the wall dash, here are some times that I used the wall dash to create a play out of literally nothing. Sometimes I was making a play that kept us from conceding as well. And the final thing I want to note is, yeah, I really did set up a controller to play Rocket League for the first time and did manage to wall dash. But I've also been wall dashing for years, so I had the advantage of knowing the rhythm, timing, angle, and speed. All things that you're gonna have to get used to. So I wasn't starting from square one, I was actually starting quite far ahead. I appreciate you all so much for watching. If you learned something, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an upload. I hope this helped, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. But until then, enjoy this montage.